All right, hello everyone. We are still here at 2Q on Pandanet, and we finally don't have a question mark, so I feel pretty good about this, and I'm excited to see how strong the players are as we rank up, because it's been like 10 years since I played on the Dawn levels on Pandanet, so we'll just have to see how it goes, and let's have a little bit of fun. All right, we got a game, and we are white. Now, I assumed it would be a little bit easier to get games right now, but surprisingly, it is not. And it's actually not that surprisingly, because I think it's just lunchtime and people are working or at lunch. So I'm going to do a 3-4 and a 4-4 because I just like to have two separate looking corners here. They're doing a Chinese opening. That is really interesting. I'm going to just approach the top side. I'm going to ignore my own stones and sort of do some Chinese related stuff. So here, in this case, we can go into the corner. This is a very old opening for the Chinese. Or we can Hane here. They could let us live and connect, or they separate, and we're able to slide here. We're going to be creating some cutting points in their shape, but they're not going to allow it, so we actually get to come underneath. Normally they block, so I'm coming underneath because they're supposed to block. So we will extend at least once or twice, and I think maybe one more time. The new way of handling the Chinese is actually to attach here, but I think if we attach here, we actually feel pretty good, honestly. So we'll attach. We'll do the mixture of an old Joseki that they messed up a little bit and the new Joseki, the attachment here. Because we're going to be living in the corner if they play this way. Yep, connect. That's why it seems pretty good, because we get to live in this corner here. They have to now expand along the side. And this is actually threatening to connect up to our other stones, which is kind of funny. And we extend up, which is also threatening the connection that they have. This is very unusual. The Hane here is not really important, especially when we can just push out and disconnect them. Because we have this Hane here, which is threatening to capture the two stones. And then this Tiger's Mouth, it just cuts off these two stones. So it's a little bit too much for our opponent here. The Hane and connect just didn't make sense. So we took the entire right side of the board, so I feel pretty good about that. They are connecting nicely, but that's a little bit slow. They just have this giant wall, so I'm going to play a large knight's move, not the small one. I'm going to play the large one to emphasize the idea that we're reducing. I'm still playing a corner move. We're just playing a little bit of a bigger corner move. They did not approach our 3-4, so we will just enclose our 3-4 because they decided to split the side. And you see that they're actually not going to be able to make that much use of this wall, especially if we, for example, just take the corner very solidly like this. And we can even do another 2-space extension here if we were worried about any sort of invasion. I'm not really too worried, but I'm going to respect my opponent's wall by playing this 2-space extension. They should be playing on the top side now. This is very, very important. 2Q should understand this for sure. I will connect, sure. Now they should go back to the top side. This is not important at all, so we will play the top side. I'm going to respect my opponent's wall and even play a small extension, not a large extension. Right? And I will think about attaching. I think I don't have the ladder here, so I will not attach. I will just, even though I like to attach, I will not. I will just jump. We're building our own little area, and we're reducing the center. The center is extremely important. Here, we're going to separate them. And we're just going to, we could even just Hane, honestly, to keep separating. Should we do that? I don't want to fight in the center, so I'm just going to extend. All right. Now they're trying to separate me. And so now we're going to get into the fight in the center. But in this case, they have a weak group and we have a weak group, so we feel very good about this. I'm going to attach to their stone to make my stone stronger. Yep, just extend here. If we want to make eye shape, we can block this way, but I'm just going to connect instead. We could cut, I guess, as well. So I think I like the idea of cutting here, maybe making a little bit of Aji for ourselves. Go down. And now we have Atari and Atari and Atari if we really need that. And we can also just jump towards the center here. They still have a weak group that they need to manage. So they need to connect it up. Yep, they're trying to connect. We are very strong over here technically, so we could probably try to cut, but I just want to focus on one weak group at a time. So we're going to push and Hane, take away all the points, because that also feels good. Yep. And I don't mind this. I'm just going to do the tiger's mouth is the proper way to sort of defend this shape. They can Atari, but they have all these cutting points they need to defend now. Here, we're just going to use this Aji here to get some extra strength in the center. And we're going to jump out again. So now we have at least one eye over here, and we're trying to make another eye in the center really easily. I'm 100% focused on this weak group. I'm not focused on anything else. The weak group is what takes priority. This is a little bit strange. I'm just going to Hane. This should be a good move for us. We're going to work on preserving our eye shape, so we at least have one eye here. And then we're jumping out towards the center again. I'm taking Tengen. Basically, I'm taking Tengen. I really want Tengen. I feel good with Tengen. And we can live whenever we want to. If we get Atari'd here, we just need to connect. They can push in if they want to, but we actually can take this move in Sente, and now we are 100% alive because they don't want to let us capture those two stones. But we now have just two eyes. And so I want to get rid of any sort of forcing moves in the area. So I'm going to play this jump here, gets rid of all the forcing moves that are important here. And there's kind of actually nothing they can do here, really. Could even jump up, which is kind of interesting, to prevent any cutting points, because we already have two eyes. And now the center is not really worth anything anymore. Yep, just connect. Just connect. Everything's connected. We have all the right moves in all the right spots. That doesn't do anything, so we will not worry about that. We're already alive, so I'm going to push here. Yep, because we can just block. We're already alive, as like I said. This isn't really doing anything. I'm pushing to reduce the liberties on this group mainly. And I will connect. I do the Hane is a forcing move, so if they cut, it's not a big deal. Since they did not cut, I'm just going to connect. Because they keep trying to attack my group as if they can kill it, but it's already alive, so I'm a little bit confused. All right. That push was a bad idea because now they have shortage of liberties on this, so I could attack the bottom side if they are not careful. This is obviously not going to work. Yep, we can just block this off. This is really nice. We can have a nice Atari here. And whatever we think is the most dangerous is where we want to capture. So if we connect here and they extend, I think we're fine. And if we capture here and they Atari and they extend, I'm also fine. So where is the side that has the most danger? It's the side with the least amount of liberty. So I'm going to capture on this side just to make sure. Because we have to capture. We have to do something, right? So I want to play the strongest move we can. In this case, we can just block like this, prevent any cutting points. Because of the special property of the corner, they can't have T1 right now. So we're very strong. This is something I thought that was really important. And so they finally got it. So that's good. I'm just going to focus on end game now. So I'm going to do these diagonal moves. The center is no longer important to me. We just want end game. So all these diagonal moves. And capturing stones, playing Hanes, all that sort of stuff. Okay. Yep, just connect. Can't do that. I have too many liberties. So I will separate. Yep. They just can't surround this group. My group in the center is also just alive. Which one do I want to do? I could just do empty triangle, honestly. That's probably good enough. They go to surround. We push, we Atari, and capture. So I guess, yeah, empty triangle should be good. Extend again. We're threatening to connect up to our stones. All right, very good. Oh, they're really, really trying to capture. Oh. So I guess we can Atari here. Maybe make some extra liberties on the bottom side. It's a really cool way to make liberties, by the way. And we can go back and capture the stones. Hane, and the stones are captured. We can even go back and now cut in the center, because they do have a little bit to worry about here. We have 3 liberties. They only have 2, so we're safe. And now we can separate while we're attacking these 3 stones. Yeah, they're asking for too much. Oh, interesting. So they want to use a driving Tsuji idea. Let's see what they do. Yep, just go in here. Oh. So I guess we can just push again, and then we capture this 1 stone. The cut was a little bit strange, but should be okay. We could also capture here. Either one would have been fine. I was capturing this 1 stone for the center stuff. They should probably connect at some point. They're going to do that one. So we will just Atari here. Capture these 2 stones again. I said I wanted this stone in the center in case I wanted to try to cut or do anything in the center area. But it was still probably better for me to just capture anyway. We're just going to threaten the cuts, be annoying. Okay. I don't know if they realize. It's fine. It's fine. So we can just push through. Push again. So now we can capture these 2 stones because they have a shortage of liberties. And it's okay that they captured one of our stones now because we already got a lot out of it. I'm extending because I was an Atari from them. It was just sort of a natural reaction. I didn't even necessarily need to do it, just very natural. Felt like the right move right away. All right, extending down. This is a good big end game move. I'll answer. All right, hunting connect. Seems good. Yep. Seems all right. They can connect underneath, which is actually not that bad. All right, cool. Not really anything else that's too important, so we can capture a stone as well, or we can just capture these 2. These 2 stones are nice. I might as well capture them for fun. Now, I don't actually have to capture them now, because now they're just 4 points. So jumping here is also really big, too. Now that is just 2 points, so not that big. Threatening to rescue my stones is not too bad either. I'm going to Atari. The capture would be cutting off the bottom side, so we feel really good about that. We can play Tiger's Mouth to threaten to cut through. So all of it in Sente, which is really nice. Do I want to capture? I don't know. Yeah, I'll capture. So the idea is that I'm going to capture the Atari. We capture there, and then we can just capture again, which feels really good. I didn't expect them to do that, but if they push through, we can just capture again. So we feel pretty good about that. They can get some in game over here if they really want it, but I think there's not much for them to get. One thing I don't really want them to do is get a Hane on this top side, so I'm going to extend down. Yeah, because if they get the Hane and I block, then they can Atari and push, so it's just a little annoying. So I want this turn here. If I Hane, they can throw in, so that's why I want just the turn. Sure, that's a move. They didn't necessarily have to play it. And if it was better to have just played in the corner, I'll connect, though, because why not? Okay, so now if they extend and we do this, they can Atari us, so we do probably want to play another move. Do we have to? Is a good question. Do they play here? We just connect. They go forward. We just connect. They go forward again. We block. I'm not sure it really does anything. We probably have more liberties than these 3 stones, so we probably don't actually even need to connect. To keep the game simple, we're just going to block. Make sure they don't think they have anything over here. Sometimes that's just the right choice. This is going way too far. They had the attachment. That was a move that they could play here. But this peep is just asking for too much. We can actually block completely or connect, whichever one we feel is better. I'm just going to connect here. Maybe if all of our liberties were already gone, they could try something here, but it's a little bit questionable at this point. Yep, just connect, make sure they can't cut us. And we can just Hane here because they can't cut. I do like that they're trying to figure something out because they know they're behind. Oh, okay, they resigned. Say thank you for the game. I think this was kind of an interesting game. If we go back to the beginning, I'm not remembering everything perfectly right now. Oh, yes. This was the Chinese opening. I think it could be good to look a little bit at some of the Joseki mistakes they made. Let's open this up so we can actually review that first Joseki mistake here. And it's not 100% a mistake, you could say, but it's just not the standard move. This is usually played when you're too worried about the cut. And we'll show the cut here in a second. But if you're too worried about the cut, you need the strength on top. That's why you play this Tiger's Mouth. But in this case, black has backup, so they don't need to worry. So the cut would be if they blocked directly like this, we extend up, they connect, we push up and cut. Now we can do this, but as I said, they have backup, so it's usually not a good idea. Most of the time, what you're supposed to do is you just leave these cutting points, then you can clamp here to ask your opponent what they want. And this is something that's kind of old now, so there may be some new ideas for this as well, but I'm just showing you the older one for now. If they extend down, that means we need to be alive in the corner because the corner is not alive as it is. If we just connect, then they should connect on the outside in some way. They could also do this one, but we can also potentially take this as a peep as well. then we connect, then they fix, and then we can play a move on the top side here. If they go to attack us, they'll have to worry about this cutting point forever, and it could be a bad idea. If they play the Hane here instead, in the corner, we technically have this move, and we can make an eye in the corner like this, though I still generally prefer to defend the corner because I think it can still die if you're not careful. If they do this one, technically we can live in the corner, so technically we could just continue playing on the bottom side. Maybe not this tight, but just play a loose move on the bottom side. If they go after these stones, we just give them up. We just say, hey, you can have these. We don't really mind. You can take whatever you want. I'll just take the outside. We feel very good. So they shouldn't go after those stones. And I think this whole area is actually kind of interesting, honestly. Really, the thing you need to maintain focus on here is that you should probably still just connect. If they go after these stones, that's too small. You can even attach to it, be very annoying, or even just play a little bit further away. We do have to respect our opponent's influence a bit here. Now, something I kept saying early on was that we really need to respect our opponent's influence. So they made a mistake, so we got to play a move that made it so they couldn't attach anymore. I extended this many times just because it felt right. I can't really say exactly why. Usually I like to extend around 3 times like this, or like have 3 in a row before I play away. It's just sort of like a basic shape idea. Some small mistakes from them there. The most important thing we have to do from this point on is respect the influence. We can't disrespect it ever. Can never disrespect this influence. It's very, very strong. I'm playing the large knight because it can't be separated from the corner. They can go into the corner, they can live in the corner, but I'm focusing on reducing the influence. Normally it's better to enclose a 3-4 point, but they have this influence, we need to reduce it. Even if they approached here, for example, I may have played on the top side and done this old Joseki, because I want to really focus on making sure this influence cannot get a lot of use, while also making points. So I'm not playing moves like throwing something in the center or anything to try to reduce the influence. I'm still taking points on the sides because that's really important. So I'm just changing my Joseki decisions to reflect the fact that the influence is important. That's the really important idea here. So they split. We're able to finally enclose our corner. We're playing extremely solid because we don't want to give them an opportunity to attack anything. And we're even extending again here. Now, they can't extend and make a lot of points on the side. They could make some points in the center, but the sides are taken up. I have a lot of points on the right side. It's going to be hard to make enough points in the center for it to matter. And the only time in which I allowed them to cut me off, I now have a weak group that is in the center directly next to their strong wall, is only because they had a group that could be weak as well. If I want to be really aggressive about it, I could turn here and then continue the fight, but I'm respecting them and I'm just making sure my group is alive. That's all that matters to me, is my group is alive. So they played a little slightly weird move here, but I'm focused on moves that are going to help me the most, right? As you saw in the game, that cut was to create forcing moves in the center to give me a lot of shape to make sure I have eyes. They're connecting up. We do get a little bit here. This is maybe slightly greedy, but I think we have enough room right now. And then, yep, we just Atari, play dog's face jumps, simple moves everywhere, and make sure we still have our eye shape. And you saw how this cutting point, not only did it get us these moves towards the center, it also got us the connection at J16. So just this one cutting point, exploiting a little bit of Aji, got us everything we needed to make sure this group was alive. They did play a slightly weird way. They could have played in a way that maybe made it so it's not 100% alive, but that's why it jumped and took Tengen, so that we can maybe make another eye here in the center. Like with this move here, we have another potential eye right here. So I hope this was a really good demonstration of trying to live next to the wall, using a little bit of Aji to make shape towards the center. Hope you guys really enjoyed this game. Hope you guys are having a good day and have fun.